What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about what I think everyone kind of needs to hear. And if you've been around on the internet as of lately, you know that some things have gone down, right? We've had Blizzard come out and pretty much decimate Turtle WoW with a massive lawsuit. We've had people talking about the fact that they want to stick up for this private server and all of these other things. I want to dive into this and kind of give my opinions on why this is happening right now, and it's going to shock you because I don't really think it's as bad as everyone thinks it actually is, and there's some things we're going to go over. So we're going to do a little walk and talk here today in Stranglethorn and just talk about this stuff. So basically, if you don't know what's going on, I'll give you a really quick recap, but I'm not going to rehash the whole lawsuit and all that stuff. So basically what has happened is, over the past few months, private servers have been growing in popularity, mainly for a few reasons, right? Everyone wants a Classic Plus. Blizzard does not offer an official option for Classic Plus. They offer a lot of products, right? We have Classic Anniversary, which is moving into TBC. We have Classic Hardcore. We have Classic Era. We have Classic Mists of Pandaria, which launched just a little bit over a month ago. We have Retail. We have Season of Discovery, which is arguably completely dead at this point. And that's a lot of options, right? But sadly, none of those are the options that most people want. And what most people want is a World of Warcraft version of old school RuneScape. That's where Classic Plus comes in. People want a version of Classic that kind of moves parallel to Retail in the same fashion, but keeping it classic. They want Classic Plus to be a world in which vanilla World of Warcraft, which ended at level 60 before the Burning Crusade, goes on forever with constant updates, staying in that same world without leaving, without raising the level cap, all of those good things. And there's private servers out there that have achieved this. And, you know, let's not be crazy about it here. They've achieved it with greatness, right? Like, I think, private servers like Turtle WoW did an incredible job with that. But playing on private servers is against TOS. What private servers are doing is illegal. They are stealing intellectual property that Blizzard has created, and then expanding upon it, right? Now, whether you think that Blizzard's incapable of making a Classic Plus or not doesn't really matter. The law is that they are not allowed to use this content. It's just plain and simple. It is illegal, and when you're advertising and pushing and kind of poking the bear with showing how popular your server is and all that stuff, of course Blizzard's going to take action, right? Because they have to defend their IP. If they choose not to defend their IP, I mean, I'm not a lawyer and this is not legal advice or anything, but what I was reading is that it gets to a point where if they don't defend it for long enough, it opens up their IP for fair use, and that's definitely not something they want to do right now. People are wondering, why now? Why is this happening now? Because, and I think the reason why so many people are asking that is because a lot of people just started playing on these private servers and they were having a really, really good time. And then obviously Blizzard comes out with the lawsuit and, the servers are still online, but not many people want to gamble with wasting their time and all this stuff if they could potentially be shut down. Now, I don't want to get fully into this. I know people are going to say, oh, they're not getting shut down. They're blah, blah, blah. They're safe from this, whatever. I get it. I completely get it. And I do think that the stuff that Turtle WoW added to the game was absolutely top tier. I just wish that we could see it in an official. And so that's one of the main reasons why I think we're seeing this major decline. And the other reason is that it's just been too much of the same thing, right? Too much of the same thing. I think that, and hear me out on this, I think that releasing Anniversary again was the wrong move. I think that stopping the development on SOD was the wrong move. I think that moving forward into Mists of Pandaria Classic was the wrong move. And to be completely honest, guys, the numbers show it, right? If we go ahead and look at the numbers, let me pull them up here for you guys real quick. If you go ahead and look at these numbers, what you're going to find is that it was the wrong move. So let me share my screen for you real quick. Boom, like that. Okay, so we're all the way down here at the bottom right. You can't really see all the little bars, but MOP is now peaking at 192,000 players, whereas Cataclysm peaked at 317K. Okay. Over 100,000 more players in Cataclysm, which was arguably way less hyped up than Mists of Pandaria Classic. Now, I think that this kind of, as sad as it is, it shows us the reality of what's going on. You have players leaving WoW Classic, official WoW Classic, in droves to go to private servers. You have people not playing Mr. Pandaria Classic, which has only been out for a little bit over a month. But I want to preface this and also say that all of these versions of the game do have a player base. Like, you can play them. They're not dead in the sense of, like, Season of Discovery is dead. There's 3,000 players rating on Season of Discovery. You would struggle to join that now, start from scratch, find a guild, and play the game. These other servers are not like that. Anniversary is still very, very healthy, very popular, although we've seen a little bit of a drop-off in the AQ phase. MOP, you could definitely find a raiding guild or join GDKPs over there, or whatever it is that you want to do over there. But we are seeing a massive decline in interest overall for official WoW Classic. And I thought originally that this was for just WoW Classic. I thought, you know, maybe people are just done with this. Maybe people are done with Classic WoW. Nobody wants it anymore. And then the private server scene started to pick up. So it showed that people weren't really done with Classic WoW. They were just done playing the same thing over and over again. They were done playing Blizzard's Classic WoW. And that's why they became popular. And then obviously all this was provoked. Blizzard hits them with a massive lawsuit. I'm not sure how that's going to end. But obviously it is Blizzard's property. They have every right to do that, and they have to protect their IP. Now, a lot of people are saying that I've had some speculation in my stream and in some chats in the comments saying that they did this because they're about to announce that Classic Plus is coming next year. I personally don't think this is the case. I think we're not going to get a Classic Plus announcement until next year at BlizzCon, maybe. But you never know, right? Because you got to think about what's going on right now in the World of Warcraft universe, the Classic universe specifically. You have Midnight coming out next year, first of all, for retail. Then if we dive into Classic, we have TBC coming out either end of this year or early next year. If they're moving into TBC, there's got to be plans for them to move into Wrath, right? You would think. I mean, most likely that's the plan. But I think that what we're seeing right now is a setup, and I was talking about this yesterday on my stream. Anyone who was in my stream probably remembers that I think what we're seeing right now is a setup, and that's why it feels really, really dull right now. It feels like there's no hype. And the reason for that is because they're setting the stage to do Classic Plus. Whether you like it or not, whether you think it's going to be popular or not, it is. It's going to be extremely popular, even if it's 20% of the content that, like, TWoW and these other servers have. It will still be popular because it's going to be more accessible, and it's going to be legal, and it's going to be official and tied to your sub. So all the people that are subbed to play retail are going to go check it out, most likely. All the people that are subbed to play Anniversary, probably going to go check it out. All the hardcore players, they might check it out. All the MOP players, they might check it out, right? So no matter what it is, it's going to be popular, at least in the beginning. And that leads me to what I'm trying to say. I think why it feels so bad right now, why everything feels so bad. But besides the fact that there's just been zero communication, we get zero hype to work with as content creators, we get zero hype to work with as players, because I'm a player before I'm a content creator. We get zero communication on what's going on, what's coming. Everything seems like it's a big secret. I get it. That's just how Blizzard operates. But they're setting the stage, and I want to be able to come back and reference this video when I was right, because I know I'm right. They're setting the stage for Classic Plus. MOP was a test, right? MOP Classic was a test to see if they should keep going with Progressive Classic, right? Progress forward into Warlords of Draenor, progress forward into Legion Classic. It was a test. And we had this same test with MOP Remix, right? MOP Remix performed really, really well. So they were like, okay, maybe MOP Classic will do it just as good. And I think that I was watching someone's video. I think it was a Willy video where he said basically what they were doing is like A/B testing. And he's 100% right. I think that he nailed it by saying that. Like, it's all A/B testing. And I think releasing MOP Classic and seeing how unpopular it actually is, not dead. It's not dead. I know anyone who's playing MOP, you can still play the game, but it's not very popular. You know, it's less popular than Cataclysm, which was said to be pretty unpopular. I think it's all A/B testing, and they're now seeing that maybe MOP is going to be the end of Progressive Classic, and maybe they just do remixes of old expansions going forward, right? This is, hear me out. Think big picture, setting the stage, right? They do remixes of old expansions going forward. MOP ends, so that version of Classic is just basically deleted from existence. You move your characters over to retail or whatever it is that they want you to do. They already put out surveys asking if they want to do this, so it's very possible. So that happens, right? Now think about that. TBC comes out in Anniversary. That then progresses into Wrath over the next 12 months after that launches. Now, what they're doing here is they could be setting the stage for era servers. We have our vanilla era server. Maybe we'll get a TBC era server. Maybe we'll get a Wrath era server. And that's the original trilogy of era servers that probably will maintain a healthy pop of 10 to 15,000 players. There's some people out there who don't want a Classic Plus and they'd rather live in these versions of the game forever. And that's fine. That's what they want. So now imagine a world where Progressive Classic is gone. MoP Classic is gone. You now have a vanilla, a TBC, and a Wrath era server. Maybe they do rolling freshes every once in a while. Maybe you could transfer your characters in between those expansions as you feel you need to. Maybe they charge you for it, whatever it is. So now you have that. Basically, that would just be called Classic WoW. Vanilla TBC Wrath. You can play on any server that you want. You also have hardcore on the vanilla stuff. So that makes one WoW. Okay, that's one WoW. And then on the other hand, like I said, MoP is gone. So that WoW is gone. Now this opens the room up a little bit for them to do Classic Plus. Now, Classic Plus, most likely, if they're listening to the player base, which I really hope they are, would run alongside Classic and Retail. It would run as a standalone version of Classic that just consistently gets updates, new areas, new zones, new questing, new things to do. You know, a version of Classic that's more permanent. As you've been seeing in everyone's videos, I'm not going to rehash it, but I've been talking about this since the beginning of Season of Discovery, where I felt like the seasonal model for WoW was not it for me. And apparently it's not it for a lot of people. People want permanent. People want permanent progression, permanent content updates for years and years and years to come, so they don't feel like their characters are completely wasted. Because as it stands right now, every single version of WoW that you play, you could play it for a couple of months, and then if you stop for a month or two for life stuff or work or whatever, maybe you have a baby, this and that, what happens is you come back and everything you did is wasted. It's all gone. And that's why a lot of people are playing old school RuneScape. We know that there's this sense of horizontal progression in RuneScape where you could stop playing for 2 years and everything you did before that was still relevant when you come back. World of Warcraft doesn't operate like that. It operates on a more seasonal model. You know, Retail, Classic, basically in Classic, every patch is a season. That's why they release catch-up mechanics, catch-up gear, catch-up raids. And I'm not saying that won't exist in a Classic Plus, but an ideal Classic Plus would just be a version of World of Warcraft Classic that you can play forever, that you know these characters are still going to exist on that realm 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now. And I think what Blizzard is doing, why they're so silent, why it feels like there's such a drought, why it feels like there's such a lack of communication, is most likely because they're setting up for this, right? They're trying to get through so that everyone has their version of WoW to play, okay? If you are someone who doesn't want Classic Plus and you're a TBC enjoyer, you'll get your TBC era server. If you're a Wrath enjoyer, you'll have your Wrath era server. Anything beyond that, we've decided now as a community, it doesn't really feel like Classic, and it's not very popular. Numbers don't lie, so anything after Wrath, maybe some people like it, I'm sure, but they can just release remixes of those, and I think that's the move. That's what they're going to be doing going forward. But having that vanilla TBC Wrath server, that's the original trilogy. That is what most people hold close in their hearts, and I can see them releasing era servers for those, and then releasing Classic Plus on the side. Now, this is tricky, though, because with the silence that Blizzard brings, with the zero communication, I think that there's room for a lot of potential problems within the community. And as a content creator, I get hit with the brunt of this, and so does everyone else who makes Classic WoW content. When Blizzard makes a decision that pisses off the community or really upsets them, who hears about it the most? It's us. We get blasted in our comments, you know, all sorts of name-calling, horrible stuff people say to us, but we just deal with it because we love the game, right? I think that this can be avoided if Blizzard was just clear about what they're doing. Clear about what they're doing. Let me repeat that. People need to know, and I get 100 comments a day on some of my videos stating, I'm not even coming back to play TBC unless we know we're getting an era server. Blah, 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 blah. We need to know. People want to know before they waste their time, and I think we are at a point now where people are literally stopping playing the game because of how it's being run and the lack of communication. So Blizzard, if you're watching this video, please consider Just giving everyone all the information up front and let them decide how they want to spend their hundreds of hours in this game. That's all I'm asking. If you're planning on doing a TBC era server, say it now. Say it when you launch the pre-patch. If you're planning on moving TBC into Wrath, say it when you launch TBC. And say that you're doing a Wrath era server, or you're not. You please need to give some information, because what you're doing is you create a sense of unrest in the community. You create, you're literally, by doing that, you create people's problems that they have with the game. You create anger, you create sadness, you create happiness, you create all these different things. And I feel like if you just gave the information, if you just had a plan and said, this is what we're doing, people can spend their time accordingly. People can decide which version of the game they think is worth their time. They can decide, okay, I'm going to play TBC because there's going to be an era server, so I'll leave my TBC era server, and then we know we're maybe getting a Classic Plus next year, the year after, whatever. So I'm not going to play Wrath, but as long as they're doing a Wrath era server and I can eventually move my TBC character there when I see fit, I'm going to do that. Like, I think that a lot of the negativity, a lot of the stuff surrounding this community that's starting to feel pretty toxic, especially to me as a creator, getting hit with the brunt of it in all my comments and all this stuff, it really can be solved with just a little bit of honesty, a little bit of a plan, and a little bit of communication. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I understand trying to drum up hype with silence and all this stuff, but at this point, I think it does more harm than good. You know, I've had people in my stream the past 2 weeks, people in my comments the past 6 months saying that they are not playing Anniversary. They'd come back to Anniversary if they released pre-patch with Nax. Now, would Blizzard do that? I don't think so. Is there a possibility of it? Sure, they could really do anything that they want. And I think right about now, during this time, this dead time, I think that doing something like that, like everyone's asking for, really would drum up some hype, and it would get a lot of people back in for TBC. People would love to raid Nax with TBC talents and level their Blood Elves and their Draenei and all this stuff. Especially right now with the change of seasons. You know, we're going into fall. We're at September 2nd at this point. It would be a cool thing. It would be refreshing. It would be new. It would add some life to the community again. People would actually love that. So Blizzard, if you are watching, consider it. Consider releasing pre-patch a little bit early, because I'm pretty sure more than half of the community on Anniversary would actually enjoy that. Yes, there's some people out there who never got to experience classic Nax the way that it was or any of this stuff, but to be completely honest, how many times do we got to do this at this point? For the 10 people who never did it, I don't think it really matters. I think at this point, we need some communication. We need the devs or anyone to talk to the community and do something fun. Do something out of the ordinary, bring people back, let people know that you are listening, you see what's happening, and you care that they're enjoying their sub. Because right now, a lot of people don't feel like they're appreciated, and that's why they're unsubbing. I'm not. I have 3 subs still. Call me a Blizzard shill, whatever. I just love playing the game, okay? I'm not shilling for Blizzard. I'm honest with all of my content. I speak my mind on everything. I'm not afraid of saying things that maybe Blizzard doesn't want to hear. I'm respectful about it, and I respect the devs, and I respect the people creating this content, but I will not silence my opinion on things that are going around. I will always be honest, as long as it's respectful. I'm not going to sit here and bash anyone. I know everyone is working to the best of their abilities, but there's definitely some things that we can improve on. And for me, personally, I love this game, and I want to see it succeed in whichever way that is. And I think that we really need some communication. We need something to drum up some hype in the community right now to tide people over to Classic Plus, because if the plan really is to talk about Classic Plus next BlizzCon, about 12, 13 months from now, that's way too far away, man. I'm nervous for this game. I don't think the hype or anything is going to last that long. I think that we're in a bad spot. We need some intervention from the company. We need some intervention from the devs. We need someone to come out and say, listen, guys, we hear you. We're going to do this. Have a good time. Enjoy it. Just do this for a little while longer. We've got something coming. We've got something coming. Like, that is what people need to hear. People need something to be excited about. So a roadmap, a timeline, anything would be good. Something, like I just said, out of the ordinary. Drop TBC pre-patch with the Nax patch. Anything, Blizzard. Anything. This stuff would speak volumes to the community, but this silence is really just, it's not good. And it's becoming really, really hard for me to defend the game that I love, because I know that there are so many issues. Now, I'm not going to sit here and doom and gloom and say the entire game is issues, this and that. There's plenty of people playing the damn game, having fun, doing what they're doing on MOP, on Anniversary, on Hardcore, on Classic Era, on all of these versions of the game. People are playing, people are having fun. But I don't think it's as positive of an experience as it could potentially be. You know, and I have a video that I'm going to be making later on in the week talking about all of these things that we've seen from these private servers, things that I think Blizzard really needs to consider adding into future projects or Classic Plus, whatever this is going to be called, because some of the stuff that these servers made is, I mean, it is of the quality of the old Blizzard that made Vanilla, TBC, Wrath. Like, it is of that quality. But that's a talk for another video. This is more about the fact that I see an era ending here. I see this is like the end of an era. This is potentially the end of Classic as we knew it. The numbers are declining. There's no communication. There's no hype. I'm going to keep playing for sure, but it's just making me sad. It's making me worried, and I feel like it could all be fixed with a little bit of communication and a little bit of just throw something out of the ordinary, Blizzard. Anything to get people back and give them some sense of hope and happiness and enjoyment. You know, I mean, to be honest with you, logging on to Anniversary Classic, where 95% of the population is rank 14, that ain't it. I'll be honest, that was the wrong move for Anniversary. Allowing every single player, if they have 80 hours to spend in Alterac Valley, to be rank 14, that was an absolutely horrible, horrible decision. The worst move possible. So no matter what, if you can't dedicate 80 hours and 10 plus weeks in Alterac Valley, you are always going to be lesser than the person who did. And that's crazy. The way it was before was very few people got rank 14, so it didn't really matter. Most of the people you were playing with didn't have rank 14. But I'm not going to get into that. That change was ridiculous, in my opinion. I think it was actually one of the reasons why Anniversary could have been doubled in popularity if that change was never in the game. But either way, this isn't a video talking about Anniversary specifically. I'm talking about the Classic player base as a whole. I think we're starting to witness the end of Classic. I think this is it. I think that we're at a very, very pivotal moment in time for Classic, and if we don't get a timeline or a roadmap or anything soon, anything to drum up some hope, drum up some hype, let the community know you're listening in some way, it's not looking good, to be honest. It really isn't. And we've been still having fun. We've been doing our thing. I'm finding ways to make my own fun. They're not giving me much to work with, but we're finding ways to make our own fun. We just brought our guild over to Anniversary on Horde side, and we're just doing our thing over there, TBC prepping, whatever, just like everyone else. And we've been having fun on stream, so, you know, guys should definitely check me out over on stream at kick.com/hammerdance. I'm going to be moving exclusively over to Kick. You guys get to watch with no ads in a high bit rate. It's fun. We could be a little more unfiltered over there. We have a really, really good time. We're actually extremely close to hitting Kick Partner. We should be able to apply for Kick Partnership by the end of this week. So if you want to support the channel at all, please jump over to the Kick, drop a follow, and tune in when we go live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, we're going to keep covering all this stuff. We're going to keep talking about Classic WoW. This is what we're all about. I love the game, and I just want to see it succeed. And I want a little bit of communication. I want something out of the ordinary to just pop up next week or one random day and give us something to be excited about, Blizzard. Please, if you're watching, seriously, communication, hype, that's what drives this game. And sadly, right now, there is none of that. So thank you all so much for watching and listening in. Subscribe to the channel if you love Classic WoW just as much as me. And I'll see you all in the next one.